Hey, Bambi. Kelly. Brandon. Hi, Uncle Buck. I know, Uncle Buck. I'm sorry. Let some swimming in the ocean. Not something I'm interested in doing. Hey, Fernanda. Hi, Jordan. Get to know Brandon. Travel that commissary and back. Indeed. Hey, Jenna. Here years ago in this place, and here now in this place. I've been throwing up for days. I haven't been throwing up, luckily. Still been spending a lot of time in the bathroom, but not throwing up. Is Geodot right dot? No, Mark can shut the fuck up. Good morning, J dot. Ah, fair enough. Gonna get drunk, but breathing is preventing that. Breathing's a pain in the ass sometimes. Don't ask ChatGPT to do the eulogy. ChatGPT sucks. Crying in a nervous wreck. Buried or cremated and thrown to the world for all of us to breathe in? I have no idea. Crazy storms here. Had water coming through the can. Lights in my kitchen, flooding my kitchen. Oof. That sounds awful, Uncle Buck. That sucks. Rectal shots. That's a thing that isn't done. Butt chugging, Jenna? Booshing? Ah, right. Booshing sounds like it might be, yeah, either way, it's not a thing that actually happens. Boofing, whatever. Anyway, I saw a bad joke today. Who wants to hear a really bad joke? Um, I'm starting a new business. It's a dating app for chickens. Won't replace my day job. It's just a way to make hens meet. My dad. Yep. I'll see that face he just pulled in my nightmares. It's my it's my bad joke face. I'm going to Indie face. No, no, it's my it's the joke. It's the face I make whenever I do a bad joke. How many poops do you take a day? Usually a day. Anyway, I finished reading the Sailor Moon manga last night. Or this morning, whatever you want to call it. But I finished reading the Sailor Moon manga. Still got to read the Sailor V. Finally watched My Neighbor Totoro and Kiki. I do have to confess, Totoro did not click with me when I watched it. I need to give it a rewatch. Might be that it just wasn't really what I was expecting it to be. Was my date isn't the toilet? Yes. My girlfriend said he had good taste in manga. I mean, I haven't read that much manga. I've read the Sailor Moon manga, and what was that? There were a couple others. There's one about a cat. Hey, boyfriend. Shut up. Yeah. Give me a second. I gotta look up the. That's right. I married my best friend to shut my parents up. I did read that manga. Yes, The Complete Cheese Sweet Home Part 1. That's right. Cheese Sweet Home Part 1. I did read that one. Oh, no, I can see Jade after obituary. Really condolences. She's going to get his dad as a werewolf. That one doesn't ring any bells. I'll get the. Give me a second to pull up the. I think that's the obituary. Yeah, there's the obituary for you. It did happen a few months ago. But no, Bambi, I have no idea what movie you're talking about there. Does Shuna's Journey count as a manga? Little Children, Studio Chizu. That explains why I had never heard of it. Yeah, the only as far as my good taste in manga, like I said, the only ones I've read: Sailor Moon, Cheese Sweet Home, and I married my best friend to shut my parents up. characters. But then she'd still win through the power of love. Yeah, sure, they'd knock her around, but she wouldn't give up. And then she'd knock her around, but she wouldn't give up. And then she'd come back and use the power of love to save the day anyway. Because that's how she rolls. Indeed, J. Dot will be missed. What happened to do? She died back in May. We found out a few days ago. Found the 15 Celsius water today and hyperventilating in front of groups of people. Eh. 15 Celsius isn't too bad, at least. Hey, normal. Okay. Well, 20 past 8 and I'm not on the toilet, so 15 where is 80 in northern Michigan? Hey, Kill Face. All our loss, Brandon. Bye-bye. Hi, Eileen. thinking about. Nothing in particular. Your mom mostly. Okay, that's another YouTube creator. I think not. Panel's not really my thing. Hi, doggo. Including. Well, unfortunately, I'm probably not allowed to. Ghibli's still around. Miyazaki did actually unretire again. It's worth noting there are other directors at Ghibli, although one of their big ones died. Isa Takahata, I believe. I think Isa Takahata died, if I'm not mistaken. And he was definitely one of their best ones. What's for supper? Nothing yet. I'll have my normal rice later. But they've got a couple of the directors. Like I said, Miyazaki himself did unretire. Hey, Sar. And I think he's admitted that this time, I think he's admitted that he's basically going to be making movies until he dies. Like, I think he has given up on retiring. Thought the studio's upright. So when it's working in the shadows and like they turn down their transfer of minor imperfection. It is exploitative, unfortunately. Short logo today. Rice is my love language. Would I ever buy a little boo boo? No. Some sort of weird doll thing, I think. I don't know. They scare me. Tell you the bowl of ramen noodles right now. Cheap candy buy at Walmart. Stuffed animal collectible keychain. Where the Wild Things Are costume. Yeah. They're so expensive. It's weird considering they look cheap. Oh, shut the fuck up, Brandon. Yeah, but that fucking joke. You can come back tomorrow, but I'm not talking to you again tonight. I told you what would happen if you kept up that fucking joke. Fucking tedious ass troll. Cats are cute. Indeed, cats are very cute. Tom from Tom and Jerry keychain. That's on tat on my ankle. I'm sorry, Killface, but I just find that joke. I'm just so fucking over that comment. Like, I'm just so absolutely goddamn over it. Brenton is a drunk and full of shit. And also, he's annoying. Bad Rebecca never responded back. Because I blocked her. You mean Rebecca Jones? Yeah, she never responded back because I completely blocked her. He is a Nazi. Is he? Shit, that's right. I was gonna permanently ban him, wasn't he? Wasn't I? Because people were telling me that he was a Nazi. I had forgotten about that. So just to confirm, hobo is straight up like is straight up racist and alt-right. I just want to confirm that like it is like other channels and everything, he is legitimately like that shitty. Hey, Ravishing. She's kind of a bully, Karen. A little bit, yeah. Rebecca Jones in the back. Rebecca, it is so red. Yes. No, I haven't seen Fantastic Four. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna. I am actually gonna give. I'd initially just timed Hobo out for 24 hours, but fuck it, I'm gonna permanent block. Hey, Paul. I don't leave my room. I don't. Um, Especially not for movies. So that means saying that Tom was just pretending to kill Jerry because everyone wouldn't put them both out on the street. That's cute. But no, like the main reason I haven't seen Fantastic Four, even if I, yeah, aside from me never leaving my room, um, still not involving myself with Disney shit. Fantastic Four is a Disney movie, and I don't watch any Disney stuff. All Nazis will be blocked. That's the plan, at least. Hey, Mike. Did they ever redeem themselves? Who, the Nazis or Disney? Thanks, Killface. As far as Disney goes, um, the only way I would stop boycotting Disney is if they got broken up. Like that's, I mean, there's a whole lot of evil stuff that I'd want them to stop doing as well, but mostly, yeah, I'd want them to be broken up. Who's worse, Nazis or Disney? I mean, Nazis. Nazis are worse. But yeah, I think main thing I would need is genuinely for Disney to be broken up. Yeah, they bought out a whole lot of other studios. You know, Fox, they got Marvel, they got Star Wars, they got all the Fox properties. Um, they got the fucking Muppets. Yeah, they just buy. They just buy up everyone they can. Why do those studios let themselves be bought? Because they were being given a lot of money. Hey, Gabrielle. You know, like George Lucas let Disney buy Lucasfilms because they gave him a lot of money. I'm one of those studios that resist no matter what they have for me. Generally, it's not up to just one person. Sometimes it is, but a lot of times it's not. Disney film or read a Harry Potter book. I mean, Disney film. I mean, for one thing, the Disney film is probably going to be better than Harry Potter. Second, at least Disney's money doesn't go directly into funding transphobia. Um, but yeah, um, tears are from laughter because you said not to your Disney. They are very similar. Do you have any Disney DVDs? I still have some. I still have some like MCU movies. I don't even remember which ones. Iron Man 1 and 2. Hi, Mandy Lane. Beyond that, I don't even remember which movies I have. But I do still have some of the MCU movies on DVD. Creepiest part of Harry Potter for me was always the Dobby stuff, romanticizing slavery. Yep. Wasn't there also a bit where a woman gets dragged off with this very strong implication that she's going to be raped? Hey, bye bye. J. Dot's killer is walking the streets of Miami like nothing happened. Indeed. leprechauns or something. Because yeah, like that's weird and gross, and like it's played for laugh, like it's played as a joke. Like, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I understand, the bit where she's being dragged off is sort of played as a joke. Like it's haha. This bitch is gonna get what's coming to her. Feminism. Let me think. Potter's still good yet. One of those things that makes me think that Rowling may have always been a shitty feminist. Not a fantasy episode today. How many years till 13 now? It's going to be a few. I would guess at least 2 years. Maybe even 3. Hope the series is still going by then and you don't give up. I'll be honest, if any game does make me give up, 13's the one that would probably do it. Put the Final Fantasy videos on and play them at 2 times speed when I'm doing shit around the house. Thanks, Uncle Buck. Like 12? The whole, oh, what's that thing called? The Muggles part, like the whole half-blood shit. Hermione discriminated because her blood isn't pure. Well, fascination with pure-blooded wizards. And one thing I find interesting. So the villains are all about pure blood, right? They're all about purity and shit. She went to, I think it was Auschwitz. And, learned a bit more about the Nazis there. And I was like, oh, and like, it was like she never realized that her villains had some similarities to the Nazis. I was like, the fuck is that possible? Your villains were a group of dudes obsessed with racial purity and wanting to oppress and destroy the impure. Never fucking occurred to you that that had some similarity to the fucking, like, how fucking stupid is she? She's internalized the racism. She's stupid. Like, genuinely, she's just a fucking, like, that is, how are you that fucking stupid, Joanne? They're literally all blonde and Aryan looking. In the books, though? Like, in the books, are they described that way? Because what's in the book and what's on the screen are, they're always going to be different. But in the books, are they all they all described as blonde hair, blue eyed? Sure, a lot to say in the movies. Sure, but I suspect that like for not saying my name and stupid at the same time. Sorry, Uncle Buck. I suspect like for a lot of the casting, like she probably wouldn't have been involved in most of the casting. Like she probably would have sat in for some of the auditions. Like they would have, for like, So here are the people. Here are some of the people we're considering for Harry. Here are some of the people we're considering for Harry and Hermione, and they would have asked her advice. Like what is, this kid's really good. What do you think of this kid? Does he look close enough to Harry? You think this girl? She look Hermione-ish to you? Does she have Does she capture Hermione's attitude? Like they would have gotten her advice on that, but for like a lot of the major casting, but a lot of the casting she would have had absolutely nothing to do with, just because there's a lot of characters to cast. But no, it's just like she said all the cast has to be from the UK. Only if you're a white person in the UK. It's no diversity whatsoever. Did she declare that the main cast had to be white? Because obviously they were white in the books, but like, did she, like, when the movies were first being made, was she like, no, they have to be white? All from the UK makes sense, just because it's set there. She wants it to be from the UK. Okay. I remember there was a play. I think somebody did like a Harry Potter play or fan film or something like that, and hey, Tanya, a black girl was cast as Hermione, and that is like nothing to do with her. She had nothing to do with it. It was just some independent thing that completely detached from her. But there was a controversy about some black girl being cast to play Hermione, and her response was like, "It's fine." She did make a comment about how like, oh, the book never says that she's white, and I was like, okay, the books actually do say that she's white. Like there is a part in the book. There is at least one part in one of the books that specifically says that she's white. So maybe read your own books. But like, yeah, that's one of those things. It's like, I mean, you're right that a black girl can be Hermione. You're just wrong about the content of your own book. But yeah, I wasn't sure if she had demanded. But yeah, I mean, it's well, no, this was years ago, well before the anti-trans shit. This was like 15 years ago that this happened. This is a long ass time ago. Like I said, it was like early 2010s, I think. It might have even been before the wizards used to poop on the floor uh, comment. Remember that? Remember when she said wizards used to just shit on the floor and magic it away? That was fucking weird. I think it might have even been before she made that comment. You didn't know that? Yes. is one of the first. That was one of the first times that people were like, "Are you okay?" Like that was one of the first times where people were like, "What the fuck is wrong with her? The fuck is she talking about?" You know so much about her, never read or watched. I just remember, like, I remembered when that comment came out, and people were like, "What the fuck?" And I mean, it's because I was on Twitter. I was on Twitter back then. I was on Twitter back in those days. I read the first novel as an early teen, and I mean, Harry Potter was always massively successful. Not impressed by the end writing skills, but it's entertaining. Yeah, that's the impression I get, that she's not a particularly great writer. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, I mean, Harry Potter was like biggest fucking book in the world. Um, Rowling herself had not yet driven into madness, so people still had a good impression about her. So there was a lot of people who would talk about Harry Potter. Following Mini Me and Howie Mandel in my early Twitter days. Honestly, I was following comic creators. Those are the main people I was following. Gillen, McKelvey, DeConnick, Rios, Hans, Busiek. Um, I briefly followed Kate Letts, but then she blocked me. But then it turned out she was kind of an asshole, so I probably would have unfollowed her anyway. Followed Chelsea Kane for a little while, but then she made some comments that were like really assholish. She's no Jane Austen. Yeah, it's like reading a random bestseller, entertaining but man. 2016, I turned political for you. Ursula Le Guin was not impressed with Harry Potter. She found the writing to be distinctly mediocre. I do think the main thing that drew people in was imagining themselves getting that letter to go to Hogwarts. It was easy for kids in particular to see themselves in it. Do my best shit talking on Twitter. Indeed, I can bring myself to be that bad on Facebook. I mean, that's what Twitter was for shit posting. Great read for kids. I do wonder. Hey, Thomas. friends in high place in the industry and a great marketing team. For sure. She got lucky. She absolutely got lucky with the marketing and everything. But as far as like great read for kids, how many of those kids went on to read other books though? Because I mean, for like, I'll say for 15 years, for a long ass time, common refrain I've heard about Harry Potter fans is read another book. Absolutely, there were some kids who like didn't like reading, and then they read Harry Potter, and then they went on to be voracious readers of other books. I do wonder if there's a lot more kids who read Harry Potter and then stopped there, just kept reading it. Kid that doesn't like reading or cares about complex themes. Sure, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was just, how did she just got lucky? Kid that's dyslexic and trying to get better at reading or something. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the success, it was just kind of luck. You know, her writing is simple enough to be accessible. The basic premise was, it's so red outside. Weird. To kid that cares about literature, they'd get bored. Descriptions or whatever, dialogues are short and quick. But yeah, I mean, when I read Wizard of Earthsea, I don't even need to read Harry Potter to know that this is vastly better written. That did a lot of the stuff that Harry Potter, like that there's a fair number of things Harry Potter did that Le Guin did before her. The idea of a wizard in school, for example. Le Guin did first, or Le Guin did before her, and she did better than Rowling. I've actually read that one. It feels like an epic. It's written like an epic. I like that aspect of Earthsea. It reminds me of like the Odyssey or the Iliad. It's written in the style of an epic. I mean, it's not complicated. And like, it's a very fascinating system of magic it's got. Yeah, it's one of those things. It's not just it's like it has one of the best systems of magic. It's not just say the spell and you can do whatever you want. It requires true understanding. Like if you want to control the ocean, you need to know the name of every drop of water. Like that's just and it requires understanding that your actions have consequences. Movies didn't do it justice. I don't know how you do an Earthsea movie. In all honesty, I haven't actually watched the Ghibli one. I understand that it was not good. Like when told Goro, "You made a lovely movie, but it's not Earthsea." Miyazaki, Goro's own father, said he's still young. It's just not a good movie. But yeah, other than that, but otherwise, I honestly don't know how you do a Earthsea movie. I don't know that you do. Like I don't know that you do make an Earthsea movie. Back in a moment, gonna get more water. Made it boring in the book and not very long. Yeah, because they have no clue where they're going with it. It's just a collection of scenes. Yeah, which not a bad description of uh, quite a few of like that's sort of something that is something that Goro Miyazaki kind of struggles with is making coherent narratives. Same sort of thing happened in Earwig and the Witch. A lot of fancy books get turned into movies, become just a collection of scenes put together. Yeah, is honestly is one thing that was one of the things that made Lord of the Rings movies so good. Is Peter Jackson was able to like he knew what to cut from the books to ensure that it made a cohesive narrative. He did a really good job making those movies a cohesive narrative, better than the books did. If we're honest, fucking Tom Bombadil. But What the cuff and Tolkien, indeed. But yeah, it is random songs and shit that are amusing, but also pointless. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is definitely a problem with adaptations in general. Like whenever something gets adapted from a book or an anime or whatever, they want to hit sort of main scenes from the books. They want to include sort of major scenes from the books, but in some cases, those scenes either rely on context or like rely on context that the movie doesn't have time to get into, or um, they're otherwise just or like the adaptation takes liberties with the story in ways that make those scenes not really fit anymore. Doing a good job of taking the scenery seriously. Yeah. I was just looking up Earthsea adaptations. Looks like aside from the GB movie and a 2004 uh, Sci-Fi Channel miniseries, that's basically it. And the Sci-Fi miniseries uh, decided to just cast everyone as white because, of course, it did. It was 2004. Of course, everyone was fucking white. Best part of Tolkien form, or the descriptions of the world he creates and his beings. Best part of Tolkien for me. He did a lot of world building. The one thing I will say is that at the very least, if another Earthsea adaptation happens, I am confident that they probably would not cast a white person. I think here in 2025, here in the 2020s, I think that an Earthsea adaptation, live action Earthsea adaptation, would probably look for an indigenous actor. Like 90% confident they'd go with an indigenous actor these days. 20 years ago, of course they went with a white dude. But now, like 90% confident they'd go with an indigenous actor. Sure. Well, I mean, he gets indigenous. There's a reason. There's a reason so few covers for the Earthsea books feature actually show Ged. Like Ged is not on the cover on this cover or on the back cover. There's a reason that a lot of editions of the Earthsea books, the covers don't show Ged. He's not white. He's described, I think, as red-skinned. Le Guin deliberately, very deliberately, intended him as looking like an indigenous person, like a Native American. That's sort of what she had in mind for Ged, was a Native American person. was a deliberate choice on her part because fantasy was dominated by white dudes. I pictured him Indian. Yes, I think it was. I think it was deliberately intended to be Native American. Um, yeah, most have brown. Yeah, most of the people have brown skin. Uh, red brown in some places, darker black brown in other places. Um, sorry, just a second. Lot. It could be another ethnicity. Mm. How are the guys find from any ethnicity except white? Yeah, yeah, he absolutely can't be white. But no, I think the best option is to sort of stay true to her vision and cast a white or cast a Native American, an indigenous person. At the very least, he does need to have sort of darker skin. He absolutely can't be white. Because that would be an insult to the character. That would be an insult to the entire fucking series. Yeah, like I said, whenever you look at different versions of Earthsea, even now, there's still this. I think Jeeply should show more diversity. I mean, I don't know. A lot of their stories are based on, like, a lot of the movies are based on, existing stories. Like Kiki's Delivery Service. It's based on a British novel about a that's set in a city in the UK. They're meant to be the UK. So I mean, it's like, should that be diverse? I mean, how diverse are cities? Like, how diverse would the city have been at the time that the book was written? Like, not even a major city, sort of a not exactly a quiet town, but like the neighborhood she lived in, how diverse would have been, or like um, when Marnie was there, again, not going to have fancy world about witches. Sure, but I mean, it's still something where I'm like, I'm going to be less bothered by a lack of diversity in something like When Marnie Was There or Kiki's Delivery Service. Marnie could be any ethnicity. She could be, but in the book, she is white. I'll admit I haven't read the book, so it could be that the book never mentions. But again, written by a white English lady. Not going to be bothered by the fact that everyone in that movie. I mean, I would assume that everyone was supposed to be white. I don't actually remember if it took place in Japan or in England, the movie, come to think of it. But whatever, like, I'm not going to be, why aren't there any, why aren't there any black people? Like, I'm not going to be disappointed about that. It's fine. On anime and manga should show more diversity. And some does. And some definitely does. Archetype of Feeding. No. So what it is, a lot of manga and anime was inspired by Disney. Like a lot of like the sort of like the popular style. It was sort of like it was inspired by Disney. The big eyes and everything. Yeah, that's where that inspiration came from. Um, and those of us in the West, those of us who are white, read that as white. But that's not how it's read over there. Different hair colors are meant meant to be sort of to represent different things. Again, like over here, for some reason, white people just think that if somebody's got blue hair, it's probably a white person. But over there, it's the blue hair is meant to represent something specific. It's a lot of it is iconography that makes sense to Japanese people because they grew up learning this shit. So yeah, I mean, most anime doesn't bother to give characters like specifically Japanese features because Japanese people already look at those characters as being Japanese. And there are exceptions. There are mangas and animes that draw characters in ways that it's like, oh yeah, that is very much what a Japanese person looks like. Yes, there are animes and mangas that do that, and especially if they are going to have a legitimately diverse cast, they might put more effort into that. You know, draw this person to look Japanese because they've got this person drawn to look white and this person drawn to look that. Generic human face. Kinda. It's just it's not really about because like I said, they're Japanese. They're Japanese and they're watching a Japanese show. Like they're watching a Japanese cartoon. Why would they think the person's supposed to be white? Japanese person watching a Japanese cartoon set in Japan. Why would they assume that the characters are white? We assume they're white because we're white. But like Sailor Moon is not a white character. Sailor Moon, despite having those big eyes and blonde hair, her name is Usagi Tsukino, and she lives in Tokyo. Why would people over there think that Usagi, that Sailor Moon, is white? Just because the characters seem to have very pale skin. A lot of them do. But I think pale skin is just seen as a positive thing over there. Yeah, like Usagi's blonde hair. That's not to suggest she's white. It's because blonde hair means something very specific over there. Your friend in school that was Asian and used whitening creams. Yeah, yeah. There is definitely some. There is definitely racism over there. Uh, Japan is a country that definitely still has a lot of issues with racism. And as part of that, they do see pale skin as being uh, yeah, as being something that you want. K-pop idol companies in the case of hiring really good girls, probably. I would think so. But yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much of it is wanting to be white versus hey Fidel. Yeah, we've chatted a little bit. Yeah, I'm not sure how much of it is them wanting to be look more white compared to wanting to look less like the indigenous people of Japan. In India, there's a whole lot of racism as well. Most countries have a lot of racism. Unfortunately, most countries have a lot of racism. Yeah, I'm forgetting the name of the. I'm totally blanking on the name of the group. But Japan has its own indigenous people that are horribly treated. Sorry, just I knew that's the group I was trying to think of. Oh, and there's also the Ryukyuan. 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 So there's another, but I knew was the group I was specifically trying to think of. Stupid internet. Yeah. So yeah, your net's up. Honestly, Uncle Buck, I assumed that you were just not interested in what Bambi and I were talking about. Anyway. Oh, well, this racist. Yep. Shame, even if it's not what you're talking about. True, true. Anyway, on a wildly different topic, uh, my welfare did get approved. So looking like they're going to pay me about $700 a month. Which doesn't actually cover all my expenses, but it's better than nothing while I look for an actual job. However fucking long that takes. Nah, it's still can't. Nah, I still can't really afford a therapist. White characters get portrayed in media so much because white people are creating them to look like themselves. Because they're in privileged positions to so. I mean, that's definitely a thing. To be fair, I mean that most countries do that. Look at Bollywood films, and hey, what do you know? Most of the actors are Indian. Who'd have thunk it? Black filmmakers tend to cast black people. Shocker. So I mean that's Chinese films. Therapists are included in healthcare when on welfare. Don't think so. Yeah, Chinese film industry. Most of the movies, most of the casts of the movies are Chinese because that's where they are. They're making films for their local audience. It's also why China doesn't seem. It's also why China generally doesn't care uh, about like how dare you not cast a Chinese person in your American movie? Like Rush Hour. Like I remember There was some Matt Damon movie, I think, where he was like defending the Great Wall of China from alien invaders or some weird shit like that. I don't remember the details, but yeah, set in China, specifically around the Great Wall. Yeah, that was like it was specifically built. The movie was specifically plotted around the Great Wall of China, and Matt Damon in the lead, and people in the U.S. were like, "Really?" It ended up being way more popular in China because they've got a million movies starring Chinese people. So what do they give a shit if this American movie doesn't? They love American, they love U.S. movies over there. Yeah, I mean the issue is really just that Hollywood for a long time um, has always been dominated by white people. Yeah, yeah, they love some Michael Jackson, absolutely. But to be fair, like the entire world loved Michael Jackson. He was a global star. Some pop stars are just like globally beloved. Yeah, I mean, for Hollywood, like, Hollywood's just dominant, just always been dominated by white people to an extent that kind of goes beyond the general demographics of the U.S. So it's white people making movies about things they know about, meaning themselves and their experiences. Demographic of the U.S. similar to Canada's. Uh, Not exactly. I don't think. I'll check something. I'll take a look. So U.S. 57.8% white for the U.S. I think Canada might actually be a little bit more, whiter. 69, nice, 0.8%. Yeah. So US is actually more diverse. We're over 10% whiter, like over 10%, like, 57% of the US is white compared to almost 70% of Canada. Back in the day, they made a black actress at a different table, went up for an Oscar. I mean, shit, back in the day, they didn't let the black actors. I think, I'm pretty sure, like, I'm pretty sure people had to fight for that black actress to be allowed into the goddamn room. Like if it's the same person I'm thinking about, some huge names had to fight for her to even be allowed in to the ceremony. As in, like, like some of the top stars, like fucking, like I know, like Frank Sinatra, for example, used to like tell places, black people are going to be allowed in, or I'm not performing. Like if you want me to perform at your venue, you are going to allow black people in. It was like, so like that woman being allowed in, like I think it was like that sort of situation where it's like either she will be there or I won't be there. And I make you money. And I make you a lot of money. So I think that was like the only reason she was even allowed into the venue. If I'm remembering correctly, I might be wrong. I very well might be misremembering. But yeah, it was the woman who was up for Gone with the Wind, right? Hattie something or other. Like that was the specific case where like black woman who was up for supporting actress for Gone with the Wind, right? Yes, Hattie McDaniel, and actually won. She actually won that award too. Mm, yeah, I might be misremembering some aspect of it. I've never read or watched Gone with the Wind. Like I genuinely never watched the movie, never read the book. I should for both, given how influential it is. It's classic. I know. I just never got around to it. Maybe just saying, kind of taking accountability for the colonizing past. More ways in Europe has. Mm. Part of it is that we actually have to deal with those we colonized you know, on an everyday basis. Like France doesn't really have to deal with the people it colonized because they're off in another country. We actually have to deal with the First Nations people. We live with the First Nations people. Spanish King 2019 said he would never apologize for the genocide in Latin America. Latin America. Ugh. Never read To Kill a Mockingbird. Lots of people have read that. Also one I've never read. Kill a Mockingbird. I think To Kill a Mockingbird is one of those books that's like most Americans have read it because I think it's part of school curriculum for most schools. But up here, it's not part of the curriculum. We probably have some Canadian book thrown in instead. We have to read fucking Farley Mode instead. They've taken no accountability. We're running up human beings. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's another thing. That is another thing. Like you look at the U.S. and I mean like there are some people in the U.S. who've taken accountability. Who've tried to be like, yeah, we did some wrong shit. We did some bad shit. But I mean, you think Trump would admit that the internment of of Japanese Americans in World War II was wrong? You think Trump would apologize for that? No. Instead, he's fucking rounding up all the brown people that ICE can find. Like he's ordering ICE to round up all the brown people they can find. From the South, no one is taking accountability for how many PSC women are recruited. Yeah. And the truth is, Canada's not that much better. We don't have ICE, at least. But I mean, we still kind of treat First Nations people as crap. We still don't give them the support they need. We still ignore treaties when it suits our purposes. Indigenous Americans spent years pointing out that certain sports teams had names that were slurs against Indigenous Americans. When those people finally, when those sports teams finally changed their names, white people were pissed. Canadian Indigenous people, Indians. We don't really call them that. It's not preferred terminology. Like I think some people do still use that term, but it's not really preferred. Strong of the state of the US. Yeah. We've got the First Nations doesn't actually include all the Indigenous people of Canada. It does refer to specific tribes, but it's a lot of tribes, and they're sort of like the biggest. Hey, Brooke. The biggest alliance, I guess, of tribes. So First Nations is usually used as a bit of a catch-all, or Natives. Natives is also used a lot because it's only two syllables. I feel like a lot, like, I don't know whether natives is actually considered offensive or not. I do still tend to use indigenous myself just because you know, it's an accurate term. But I do kind of suspect that a lot of people just use natives because 2 syllables, that's it. That's all you need. If there was a good way to shorten it to 1 syllable, people would use that. Because I do feel like people prefer terms that have fewer syllables. Yeah, indigenous is one of those things that's just like it's absolutely no one gets offended by that one. F to American Indians, but I prefer not to use that. Yeah. Because they're not Indian. They're not Indian. Indians are from India. Spain, Europe also has state of letting people drown in the sea. Yep, to avoid immigration. Yeah, it's fucked up. There's been a massive global pushback against not being awful. Basically, every country right now, like, no, we demand to suck. We demand to be terrible and to make people's lives worse. Canada did at least reject its far right option. When was that election? August 18th. We'll need to keep an eye on that. Next Monday. So here's something funny. So Pierre Poilievre, leader of the Conservative Party, why is right wing winning everywhere? I think they had a long game. Honestly, I think they just did a really good job playing the long game. They bought up all the media sources. They dominated podcasts. They control the narrative. They took control of the narrative and started pushing grievance politics. Scapegoats are way easier than, people love a good scapegoat. So telling people that they've lost their jobs and rent's gone up and groceries have gone up and everything's more expensive and everything's worse, easier to just say it's those damn immigrants than it is to say we live in a capitalist system that is designed to exploit people, chew them up, spit them out, in favor, in order to maximize shareholder profits. Especially because the media landscape is dominated by the rich people who are making all that money. There's a cartoon. Three people sitting at a table. One guy in a suit, one guy in like sort of work clothes. Like one white guy in a suit, one white guy in work clothes, and Latino also wearing work clothes. Big guy has a plate, just tons of cookies on his plate. Worker has a plate with one cookie on it. And the rich guy is leaning over and saying, that guy wants to take your cookie. And that's why that's why the right wing is winning everywhere. Yeah, I was going to say, Pierre Poilievre, leader of the Conservative Party. He lost the federal election. What's more than that, though, he lost his own riding. So he is not currently in Parliament. It's going to be a while. It'll never really end. There's always going to be reactionary elements, but it's going to be a long time before, it's going to be a while before we see real progress again. Yeah, Poilievre lost his own seat. So he is currently running to be elected in the safest conservative district available. And I really, really, really want him to lose. More media output and media watchage gets not even comfortable. Exactly, yeah. They control the newspapers, they control the TV stations, they control podcasts, they control Twitter, Facebook, anywhere people get their news. Anywhere that people get their news, odds are a billionaire owns it. Yeah, Poilievre losing this by-election would be probably the funniest thing to ever happen in Canadian politics. Like, I am so desperate to see him lose just because it would be hilarious. Could not possibly be funnier. Than for this dude who is like so desperate to be prime. He is so desperate to be prime minister. He wants it more than anyone has ever wanted anything. He wants to be prime minister. And he had it. He had it in the bag. The election was his to lose. He was going to be our next prime minister. So it's already funny enough that he lost. Wasn't left in great media platforms. Money. Hey, Buttercup. He even slept through me and Bambi shit talking Harry Potter. Me and Bambi talk shit about Harry Potter. You missed it. Glad you missed that part. Bambi agreed that the writing is very meh. That Rowling is just not a particularly strong writer. Very accessible. You know that like Harry Potter is accessible. But not particularly great writing. No, but everything I've read, everything I've ever heard about Harry Potter tells me that it's not really, that Rowling is not a great writer. She made an accessible book that kids were able to project themselves into and thus fall deeply in love with. But it's not particularly great writing. The writing style itself is just very basic. I've heard the same thing about her, was it Cormorant Strike? Those detective novels. About a dude who's ugly as sin and constantly farting, and yet every woman on the planet throws herself at him. It's boring. gonna get to bed. And I've hit 2 hours straight mark, so I'm not sure I'm gonna scream. It has been 2 hours, so I'm gonna get going. I'm gonna end the stream here for tonight. So I will presumably be back tomorrow. Can read those ones. Yeah, don't bother. You shouldn't read those ones because they're apparently not very good, and also J.K. Rowling is a fucking asshole. So, yeah. Thanks for coming, everybody. And good night, everybody.